Hello and welcome back to the Littlest PetCast. I am your host James, and today we are going over the episode If the Shoe Fits. So we begin with Mrs. Twombly putting away stuff, and then Blythe and Young Me scream at Blythe's laptop, which he has, and disrupt her, and some of the stuff falls down. Blythe and Young Me gush about how dreamy, cute, and wonderful whoever on their screen is. And Jasper is also there, but he's like, meh. And Zoe's interested in all those things as well. And like the pets come out. And Russell also goes like, nah. So Mrs. Trombley asks what everyone is hollering about. And Jasper's like, not everybody. So Blythe tells Mrs. Twombly about the boy band that has their hearts. Jason, there are in fact two Jasons, Hayden, Dustin, and Ted, aka the Soul Patches. And Young Me says, you said their name. And they scream again. And during this scream, all the animals cover their ears, and Pepper puts her tail through her ears to block the noise. And then Zoe, after they're done screaming, Zoe says that they would be cuter with a tail and fur on more places than their chins, but she does like their music. Young Me says that she'd do anything to see the Soul Patches. Blythe gets an alert on her computer and asks, even put up with the Biskits? Blythe explains that they got invited to the Biskits' birthday party and the Soul Patches are headlining. Blythe and Young Me scream and it's tremendously loud. Jasper gets blown back and almost knocks over a fishbowl, but he catches it, and like Mrs. Twombly covers her ears with dog beds. And then Roger walks in with a bunch of clothes and is shocked and drops all of his clothes. And that's it. So once they're done, the rest of the animals walk out of the places they were hiding under, and then Pepper walks up, pulls her tail out of her ears, and just says, what? Which is actually really funny, I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, I did want to touch on this, because we're more time confusing shenanigans. So, this is December now? Because, okay, if their quarter birthday is in March, so that information comes from later in that episode where Sue says it's been a half a year since Blythe became part of the team or whatever between Sue, Young Me, Jasper, and Blythe. And I assume that Blythe went there to Downtown City in September because it feels like a new school year. And like Jasper said, I had this locker last year, so it feels like a new school year. But then why did it just go forward 6 months in the span of 2 episodes? Because regardless of Netflix order or air date order, this is 2 episodes ago from Feud for Thought. Also, does that mean air date order is correct? Because December would also be around the time of Winter Wonder Wah. I don't get... This is so confusing and makes no sense. I'm basing this off of probable timelines. Like, I don't... Oh, man, I had such a good momentum going. And then, like, trying to figure this out just killed it. Just killed it. Because this makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. Unless, like, episodes just... Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. Like, there is a timeline. There is a timeline. It's just, I don't know what that is. Give me a timeline. Oh, jeez, Louisa. Like, I don't know. This is one of those things that just comes out in podcasting. Because, like, I mean, I wouldn't care otherwise. But, like, when you're doing this and you're thinking of things more in depth, like, than you would just taking it in, when you have to put it back out, start to notice other things. So let's try to hop back on our momentum train for a little bit before I get distracted with another rant about stuff that doesn't make sense. So Roger gets up and asks what all that yelling is about. And they explain that they're gushing over the soul patches, and they got invited to the Biskits party, which has the soul patches at them. And Roger's like, yeah, those guys rock. And Youngmi asks about this reaction. Blythe is like, he's not a fan. Roger's like, no, I totally am a fan. And Youngmi asks what his favorite song is. And Roger attempts to sing it, but he can't quite remember the words. And that's when Jasper chimes in with, like, the actual words. But then he backs down saying, that's all I know. Roger's like, this guy knows his soul patches. Jasper's like, no, I just got lucky with the lyrics is all. But, like, Roger isn't any of it. And he's like, holds up his hand for a high five for solidarity between Soul Patches fans. And Jasper just reluctantly gives it to him. He's like, sure. So Blythe asks why all the clothes, and Roger explains that Blythe said she'd take them to the thrift store next time she went. Blythe remembers that, and now she has an excuse to go. Party dress! Roger says he has to fly, literally, and then makes flying gestures and leaves. And Blythe is embarrassed, but Youngmi laughs like, I know it's embarrassing for Blythe, but I think Youngmi and Jasper actually like him. Not as like he's not just Blythe's dad, he's his own person, and you know, they just like him for being him. I went over this before, but like the way Jasper just gave him a high five, because like he knows Roger would be disappointed if he didn't get it, and it's like, oh, I have to do that. Like, I think they actually like him. Oh man. So Jasper then wonders why the Biskits invited them, but Youngmi says she doesn't want to know if she can't go. But Blythe says that the invitation says to bring your best besties to spend time with your best besties. And then they say it's a shame that Sue is still out of town with her track meet, but Blythe says that they will need to take a lot of pictures. By the way, this episode pretty much goes a mile a minute. It's insane. So Youngmi and Jasper leave to plan for the party, but Blythe calls Jasper out for saying that he doesn't like the soul patches. Jasper says that he doesn't. He just likes a good party and kind of wants to tear up the Biskit Manor. And then, before they go, Young Mi gets in one more soul patches and another scream. And then Russell asks if Blythe is alright. Because why would the Biskits invite her? It makes no sense. Especially after what happened last time they showed up at a Biskit party. And then it flashes back to the events of What's in the Batter, which, kind of plays out like that kid-friendly version of that one John Mulaney skit. You know what I'm talking about. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to get into detail about it. So, Blythe says, maybe they've forgiven and we're best besties now. And the pets give a confused look, and Blythe takes Roger's old clothes and says, well, they aren't really close to anyone except themselves, so maybe that falls under best bestie territory, which is a good point. The Biskits are very self-absorbed, and we're going to get into that a bit later, but, that's a good sticking point for now. So, Zoe asks if she can come, but Blythe says that would be a problem because, of what happened last time. Even though they've forgiven, they probably wouldn't forget. It's a thing. And she says that she thinks the Biskits would freak out if they saw a bunch of animals that weren't invited. Minka says that she never knows if that's a good thing or a bad thing because she loves a good freak out, and then proceeds to freak out and is then stopped by Blythe when she stares her down a bit. Blythe says that would be bad. She leaves the box with her dad's clothes. You can see why this is really hard for me to do, because this is the pace it goes. It goes boom, 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 and it keeps going, and it just oh boy, man. So she leaves the box of her dad's clothes down there as she prepares to go up to plan for the party. She tells the pets that they can't be seen at the party and asks if they understand. They say they do. She goes up the dumbwaiter, screams some more, and Zoe says that she can't wait to go to the party. Russell asks her if she heard what Blythe said, and Zoe says that we can't be seen, not that we can't go. And Russell says, I hadn't thought about it like that. Which, come on, Russell, you're the smart one. You could probably infer what Blythe meant. And you're also weirdly close. I can't. Man, I'm just going over a lot of old territory right now. Dang it, Jan. But whatever. So, Blythe is digging up clothes and talking to Youngmi and Jasper on Skype. And she read that Jason won, the kind of mustard with seeds in it. And Youngmi says that was the inspiration for their song Dijon Me. What kind of song is that? I have to wonder. Is it a song about no, I'm not. Well, is it a song about putting Dijon on you? No, that's That's a bit weird. That's a bit weird. And we are going to be moving on because that's just weird. So Blythe asks which color Jason 2 prefers, green or black. And Young Me says, if you listen to the lyrics, I wear black because I'm sad, you would know the answer to that. So Jasper says he doesn't know what he's doing in this conversation. And then Young Me auto hops, I forgot the actual technical term, but to their song, This Conversation, which is the third song off their first album and the inspiration for her Soul Patches song. Jasper and Blythe stop. And Blythe asks, you wrote a song? Young Me says she did, shows them the sheet music, and says that it would be perfect for them. Blythe wants to get it to them at the party, and Young Me likes that plan. But Jasper starts freaking out and is like, what if they don't like it? What if they don't get it? What if it's embarrassing? What if we embarrass ourselves? And then he backs down again, says that it's a good plan. And Blythe agrees with the goodness of her plan and says that nothing will go wrong. So back in the pet shop, the pets are all in various disguises, and Zoe laments that no one will recognize her. Russell says that he can still tell it's her and everyone else, including himself. So Neil says that he doesn't know what to do, and he sits on Roger's donation box. And Zoe says, Sunil, that's it. And Vinny's like, hey, why'd you yell at Sunil? Oh, goodness gracious. So Zoe says that the clothes that Sunil sat on is the solution to their problem. Manimal. So they get organized, and Sunil is on stilts, and he says he's a magician, not a stilt walker. And Zoe says that he'll get the hang of it. And Pepper is worried about him not getting the hang of it. And you know what she does when she's nervous. Penny begs Sunil not to make her nervous because she's downwind of her. Sunil says he'll try, but he has a lot of weight on his shoulders. Russell asks if that's a crack about his weight. And then Minka says she'll give him a hand. A right hand, because she's operating the right hand. And Vinny says, I thought I was the right. Zoe says that the only thing that matters is who's at the top, which is Zoe. She then puts on Groucho Marx glasses and says that it's the perfect disguise. They try walking around, but they fall down. Pepper then Dutch ovens the trench coat, and the pets all run away, and Pepper's like, I warned you. So, Blythe, Young Me, Jasper are getting ready for the party. They're at Blythe's house, and they're dressed in all black, basically. And Blythe wonders if they'll like the present she got them, and says, of course they will. We're best besties. So, yeah, Blythe, 2 episodes ago, you flew into a dumpster to rekindle the Biskits' friendship by making them hate you more. Unless the timeline, unless it just bounces around, or this really is just 6 months from the 2 episodes ago. But, there's nothing that indicated that, though. There's, usually, if you skip ahead that much, they give a reason in an episode. They usually do with the summer bits of How I Met Your Mother, or that one room episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine from this season. Like the goal there is to show the advancement of time to sync up, but this is just terrible. I don't know. I guess Blythe thinking the Biskits are friendly with them and this time thing are both terrible. It's this time thing just makes no sense. So they also hope that they can get the song to the band, and they leave, but they forget the present. So the pets come up and say that they're ready to go. I could not resist. So the room is empty, and they come to the conclusion that maybe Blythe wants to meet us there. And Russell says, maybe Blythe just doesn't want us to go at all. You know? But, I mean, that doesn't stop him from attempting. So Blythe, Youngme, and Jasper arrive at the party and are awestruck. Blythe by the decor, Youngme by the posters of the soul patches, and Jasper by the food. So they walk in, and Youngme preps herself and Blythe by saying that soon they will be breathing the same air as the soul patches. And it gets weirder, because Blythe then says, you mean air that has been in their cute lungs will be in mine? But thankfully, oh no, oh god. I can't. Oh, that's just weird. Oh dear. But thankfully Jasper finds it as weird, or at least is pretending to, and he just gags at the idea. So I can't. That's just a weird sentence. That is just a weird sentence. I know, the whole thing of we're breathing the same air as them. That's one thing. But to go into the technical detail of it, the technical detail of how lungs work and how lungs expose, it's not even air. It's carbon. I don't remember how the air cycle thing works. But we inhale the oxygen and we exhale the carbon dioxide. The oxygen comes from the trees, which take in the carbon dioxide. I don't quite remember how this works. But it's the whole thing of why we need trees and why conservation matters. Here I go again being political, even though surviving should be the least political thing of all. But whatever. You know what? I'd rather talk about politics than that on my show for kids. So we're just gonna keep trucking along. So Blythe and Youngme are displeased by his actions, and they all enter. Meanwhile, at the door, a door person is checking to see if people are on the list. And then Manimal walks in. The door lady is confused and looks, but Manimal falls and someone else is at the door. So, whatever. And in her defense, the instructions of bring your best besties seems vague at best. It probably makes sense to the Biskits, because they're the type of person to write down, get me, a coffee cup or something. And you get them a cup, but no, it has to be from this thing. Yeah, don't you know us? Come on. So the pets peer out of Manimal and take in the scenery as well. So then Manimal continues, and Fisher and Francois are walking down the stairs. And Fisher sees Manimal and asks Francois if he's familiar with that man. Francois shakes his head no, but I have a sneaking suspicion he absolutely does and just isn't saying anything. And Fisher says that man is interesting. I must talk to him. And Manimal continues to walk around and bump into people. So, one of the person that Manimal bumps into, makes their way to the present table, and the Biskits thank them. So, they look around and call everyone their bestie. They are narcissists doing it again. I actually think that they show signs of narcissistic personality disorder. It's everyone it goes doubly when they see Blythe and friends and scream because they aren't besties. And it's weird because everyone around them is either their bestie or their worst enemy, and there is no in between for them. And it is not healthy to think like that. Because, I think they only show up because, they're rich. And they want to grasp at it, and the Biskits love that mentality from people, and Blythe doesn't have that mentality. I'm sure everyone they called bestie doesn't actually like them. Blythe is just the only one that tells it to their face, and that's what they don't like. The appearance of friend over the core values of friend. And yeah, they're just all about appearance. And it's just so shallow-minded. It's a really good way to, I don't know. I like that in writing. That's what I'm trying to say. So, Young Me says to look for the soul patches, and Jasper says he'll search by the food. And then Jasper just goes and just starts munching down. Blythe sees the biscuits and points them out to Young Me and say they look angry. They are pushing people, popping balloons, and they are heading this way. Blythe then realizes that of course they aren't best besties and blames her unending love for the soul patches on this lapse in judgment, which we're back to actual teen stuff that is weird, but not too weird for me to discuss. It makes perfect sense as to why Blythe thought that, and she explains it. And that logic actually plays throughout the episode, but we'll get to that. So, Young Me says that they should split up, and Blythe agrees and says last one to spot a soul patch is a rotten egg. And Blythe tries to hide in a crowd, but is caught by the Biskits. She then tries to play it off like they're best besties, but the Biskits aren't having it. They demand to know why they're here. Blythe says that you invited us, because we're best besties, right? And then the Biskits realize that Francois did this. And they get mad at him and say they're going to fire him. Meanwhile, Francois is behind them. And when he hears it, he immediately turns around and is like, nope, I'm not going to deal with it. But, it's just silent. Because, it's perfect. It's perfectly done. He turns around on a dime. It's hilarious. So this is another reason I say Netflix order, but this could also be, I don't know, because Francois is here catering at the party, and But, like, the fact that they say they're going to fire him means that, like, we're going to fire him before winter. But, like... But no, that was the hire back for... like, when they fired him after revealing the Biskits' plan in Expo Factor. I think. Like, they gave plausible deniability on whether or not air date order makes sense here, but I still think Netflix order is overall correct. So Youngmi decides to hide in the closet until this blows over, but Youngmi says that she won't find the soul patches hiding in the closet. And someone talks to her, and she turns around and she sees the soul patches, which I think she might not be in a closet, it just looks like one. So she is starstruck. The soul patches ask if they can help, and then Youngmi barks at them and then covers her mouth. And the soul patches are like, okay? And then Youngmi leaves. This is also weird. Like, Youngmi barking is weird in and of itself, but the fact that the soul patches are just like, okay, is also a tad weird. I'm not gonna lie. So anyway, the Biskits demand Blythe and friends leave, but Blythe says she got them a present. And this excites the Biskits because they love material goods more than people, and they ask for it. Blythe tries to give it to them, but she remembers she left it at home. When the Biskits get impatient, Blythe explains what happened and that she'll call her dad to bring it. The Biskits say it should get here very soon, and they're out of here if they do something wrong. So Blythe calls her dad, and he's going to bring the present over. And Blythe relaxes for 2 seconds, and then Youngmi rushes over and says that they have to leave. Blythe says that they haven't even seen the soul patches. Youngmi explains that she did, and she barked at them. She's so embarrassed, and she wants to go to her room and never come out. At least she knows it's weird. So, meanwhile, Manimal is just still cruising around. So Penny sees some hors d'oeuvres that she wants, and when the waitress gets there, the plate is empty. And we see that Penny Ling just stole them all from when she was holding it lower before serving it. So Manimal goes on and then bumps into someone, and then Pepper releases her scent. And when they walk away, 2 girls come up to that guy, but they are turned away by the stench. And then Manimal bumps into a punch bowl, and it kind of spills onto somebody. And Jasper sees all of this and says, and the Biskits call us weird. And Pepper, in the coat, says, if I knew being a human was this fun, I'd have done it years ago. So Fisher looks at Manimal and says, interesting. So he goes over and begins to chat it up. He reaches out his hand, and Manimal tries to do the same, but it gets complex. And Fisher eventually shakes both of his hands, but crisscrossed. And Fisher likes that complexity. So he also likes the silence. He says it's strong, but then Francois comes over with an urgent matter, and Fisher says that he has to leave, but tells Manimal not to go anywhere. For you are most interesting. So he's delighted to be most interesting, and Pepper wouldn't believe it if she didn't hear it. So they start wobbling a bit more, and Sunil says he must have gotten a flea somehow. Oh, maybe it was in the coat. Jeez, Roger. And gets itchy. So Manimal looks like he's dancing, and everyone's crowded around him. And this makes the Biskits angry because all eyes are not on us. And Manimal knocks over Blythe and Young Me and falls, kind of. And Young Me goes flying to the soul patches and she clucks at them. So Blythe asks if Manimal is okay, and Zoe answers, yeah, we're fine. And then Blythe realizes the problem right away. And drags them over and sees everyone. Blythe asks what they're doing here. Zoe explains that, we came to the party like you wanted us to. Blythe says that you can't be here because it would ruin the chances of Young Me getting her song to the soul patches. And Penny's like, Young Me has a song? And Blythe's like, yeah, it's actually really good. And like, no, wait. Before we change the subject, leave. Zoe explains that you said that we can't be seen at the party, and no one has seen them yet. Blythe says that meant don't come. Russell gets mad because he knew he shouldn't have listened to Zoe, but Blythe sees Fisher coming and tells the pets to make themselves scarce. So Manimal walks off, but not before leaving a shoe behind, a la Cinderella. So then Roger comes in and he's like, ready to party! And Blythe is nervous, but she gets the present. And then Fisher finds Manimal's shoe and says that man is going to be my next vice president of something. Like, oh dear, things are really heating up. Okay. So Roger also sees Manimal and wants to go talk to him. And Blythe is like, is there anyone that doesn't want to talk to the pets? And then the Biskits pop up, because of course they do. And they tell Blythe to leave the gift on the table and not give it to them directly. So she places it there, and the Biskits allow her to stay. Blythe is exhausted, and then Young Me comes up saying she clucked at the soul patches. And Jasper's like, soul patches, where? And then Fisher comes up, picks up Jasper's foot and compares the shoes and says, you're not my next vice president. Jasper's like, sorry? So Fisher moves on and the soul patches start playing and everyone is excited. Side note, anything with EX at the beginning is dumb. Because, like, it doesn't seem like a following letter should be there sometimes. Like, exit is EXIT, but exhume is EXHUM. But they both have the exh sound. And I looked it up, and it's because of Latin. And that just goes to show how dumb Latin languages are. Because that doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, I guess it's different. It should be the same-ish words, but like excite is not exist. It's so dumb, and I hate it. So dumb. So Young Me is worried about getting her song to them, but Blythe has a plan. She folds it into a paper plane and flies it over there. This Idlewild plan works, and the Soul Patches get Young Me's song. They look out and they see Blythe pointing to Young Me, and they decided to play it, just right then and there. The Soul Patches must be really, really cool with just whatever. I didn't mean it like that. But, I mean, they were cool with a fan barking and clucking at them, so I guess the Soul Patches are weird, but cool. Anyway, so Blythe gets worried because she sees Manimal approaching the stage and Roger and Fisher approaching on either side. And Manimal gets on stage and the Soul Patches offer them the opportunity to sing. And they're just cool about a lot of stuff, I guess. They're just cool with it. So Zoe, always ready to sing, sings. However, everyone only hears the barking. And everyone thinks it's weird at first, but then they're cool with it. Yeah, sure. I guess everyone's cool with dog barking in this universe. I mean, I know DMX barks, but like that's kind of his signature thing. If like he also does it sparingly. He doesn't do it all the time. But I guess it's a style that some people are into and everyone here is into. Except for Fisher, because he says, if that man runs a company like he sings, it'll be a disaster. And then he throws the shoe and Roger catches it. And he wonders how his old shoe got here. But he gives up and just goes back to rocking out. And Youngmi is worried because she thinks her song is butchered. But Blythe tells her everyone loves it. So, okay, so I think I might be misremembering something. 'Cause, like, I thought Blythe told Youngmi that the song was good. Like, I mean, they say people actually like it. But I thought Blythe told Youngmi that, like, the song is actually good because she can actually hear it. And not the barking. I have to be misremembering that, or it's some kind of mix-up. I don't know, because, like, here's the thing. According to air date order, this is episode 11, and the secret recipe is the mid-season finale at 13. But while that does make a good mid-season finale, I thought, like, Youngmi knew at this point, and Blythe is actually complimenting the song. I don't know. It's odd. So Jasper goes woohoo and dances to it. And then the song is over and the Soul Patches thank everyone and gives a shout out to Manimal who say can belt it out. And Zoe basks in the cheers. So, we're nearing the end. This is, a long process. Well, it's not terrible. It just takes a lot out of me. Because, like, a lot happens. This is, like, paced at a mile a minute. And while it might work for the episode, especially, like, its funnier moments, because they have to be quick, but they also hit really well, it does not leave me with a lot of energy. So, Youngmi is hanging out with the Soul Patches, and they're talking about her song. Jasper's looking on, and Blythe is like starstruck. And Jasper tries to make up an excuse, but gives up and says he loves them. And then the Biskits come over, displeased with their gift, which is a photo of Blythe, Sue, Youngmi, and Jasper. And they ask, "What were you thinking?" And Jasper, just now overcome with joy about being open for his affection for the Soul Patches, says that we thought we were your best besties and gives them a hug. And to be fair, Blythe did blame her unending love for the Soul Patches on all of this. And for what it's worth, that's fine. Anyway, so they go ew and push him off and tell them to leave and take your gift with you. They throw it. Blythe catches it, and Blythe says that this party was still a success because any party is good when you spend time with your best besties. And then Manimal walks out, but their coat gets caught on the biscuits, and it gets left behind. So they see Blythe, Jasper, and Young Me leaving. Oh, not before Young Me comes back saying that the Soul Patches have signed her song. And then they also see a bunch of animals walking around as a man. And I think it's just weird. And then end the episode. Oh boy. So like I said, this episode is wild. The pacing is ridiculous. But it's very enjoyable. And like the party isn't ruined at all, which, like, I think is a neat touch, because, like, last time the party was ruined, this time, like, things just got wild, and the party was overall successful. Also, I do want to point out something, because I kind of forgot until now, but the Soul Patches are not technically a boy band. They're not like a Backstreet Boys or a One Direction, but they fall into like Fall Out Boy-ish, All Time Low maybe, but less emo. I'm not gonna say not emo, because they do have the lyric "I wear black because I'm sad," which is odd. Like, it's a fun thing, but to include, because like there's a bit of depressing-ish lyrics in like Fall Out Boy or whatever, like emo, but like none as direct as that. I mean, I say that, but I mean, there is that song All Black by Good Charlotte, but like even that is a little bit more versed than just saying I wear black because I'm sad. Like All Black by Good Charlotte is like I'm comfortable wearing all black, not I wear black because I'm sad. It's more Addams Family-y than anything, I guess. I don't know. Oh boy, I'm just out of breath. So I guess that, like, I like this episode. It's just a lot to take in. So that will be it for this episode of the Littlest PetCast. Be sure to leave your comments and reviews on Shout Engine, on Apple Podcasts, on the Google Play Store, and wherever else RSS feeds go when they just run out of steam. And be sure to tune in next time for the episode, The Very Littlest Pet Shop. And that is the last episode where this whole Netflix air date order thing is gonna be a thing, or a more present thing, because then we get back to where they're back in step. So stay tuned for that, because I will see you then.